You want to know the secret to building real wealth? It's not sexy. It's not exciting. There's no hack, no shortcut, no get-rich-quick scheme. It's boring. Mind-numbingly boring. And that's exactly why it works, because while everyone else is chasing the next crypto pump, the hot stock dip, the revolutionary business idea that'll make them rich overnight, the actual wealthy people are doing the same boring things. Every single day. No drama. No excitement. No dopamine hits. Just a routine so simple, so unsexy, so absolutely mundane that 99% of people won't do it. Not because they can't, but because it doesn't feel like progress. I'm about to show you the exact routine that builds millionaires. And I'm warning you right now, you're going to be disappointed. Because it's not what you want to hear. But it's exactly what you need to do. Here's what nobody wants to admit: wealth is boring. The flashy cars, the luxury lifestyle, the Instagram posts, that's what wealth can buy. But the building of wealth? That's watching paint dry for 10 years. You know what a typical day looks like for someone actually building wealth? They wake up at the same time. They check their budget. They go to work. They pack their lunch. They invest the same percentage of their income. They say no to impulsive purchases. They review their goals. They go to sleep, then they do it again tomorrow. And the next day. And the day after that. For years, there's no excitement. No variety. No "I just made $10,000 in a day" posts, just consistent, boring, repetitive actions that compound over time into life-changing wealth. And this is why most people fail. Not because the strategy is complicated, but because it's too simple, too boring, too unglamorous. They'd rather gamble on the exciting opportunity than commit to the boring certainty. But here's the reality: boring is what works. Boring is what lasts. Boring is what builds generational wealth, while exciting builds temporary highs and permanent regret. So let's break down the routine. Starting with the morning, wealthy people wake up at the same time. Every day. Not because they're morning people. Not because they love the grind. But because consistency removes decision fatigue. When you wake up at the same time, you don't negotiate with yourself. You don't hit snooze. You don't waste mental energy deciding whether today is the day you finally wake up early. You just do it. Automatic. Boring. Effective. Then here's what they do that poor people skip. They review their numbers. How much money do they have? How much came in yesterday? How much went out? What's their net worth today versus last month? This takes 10 minutes. Maybe less, but most people can't do it. Because looking at their numbers means confronting reality. And reality is uncomfortable when you're broke. Wealthy people look at their numbers every single day. Not obsessively. Not emotionally. Just factually, because you cannot improve what you don't measure. You cannot build wealth in the dark. Then they do something that seems ridiculous. They review their goals. The same goals they reviewed yesterday. And the day before that. Read them. Visualize them. Reconnect with the why. This isn't manifestation woo-woo. This is keeping your brain focused on what matters when the world is screaming distractions at you 24/7. 5 minutes. Same goals. Every day. Boring? Absolutely. Effective? You have no idea. Now let's talk about the actual work day. Because this is where it gets really boring. Wealthy people in the making? They're not job hopping every 6 months. They're not chasing the next shiny opportunity. They're mastering one high-income skill and becoming the absolute best at it. One skill. For years, they show up early. They leave late. Not because their boss demands it, but because they're building equity in their expertise. They're the person everyone comes to for that one thing. They're irreplaceable. They're valuable. And here's the part nobody talks about. They take their lunch to work. Yeah. We're talking about meals prep now. Because that's how wealth is built. That $15 lunch 5 days a week is $3,900 a year. Invested at 10% for 30 years, that's $644,000. You just traded a mediocre sandwich for over $500,000. Boring? Hell yes. Life-changing? Absolutely. During lunch, while everyone else is scrolling social media, they're doing one of three things: learning something that increases their value, networking with someone who can open doors, or working on their side income stream. 30 minutes. Every day. Compounded over years, this is how people go from average earners to six-figure incomes without anyone noticing until it's done. Then comes the evening. And this is where most people completely destroy their progress. They've been disciplined all day. They deserve to relax, right? So they order takeout. They shop online. They subscribe to another streaming service. They buy the thing they've been thinking about, and all the progress they made during the day evaporates in 3 hours of unconscious spending. Wealthy people? They have a different evening routine. First, they cook at home. Again with the boring food thing, I know. But restaurants are where wealth goes to die. The average American spends $3,500 a year eating out. That's $3,500 that could be invested. That's $3,500 that could compound. That's $575,000 over 30 years at 10% returns. You're literally eating your retirement. Second, they review their spending from the day. Every transaction. Every purchase. Did it align with their goals? Was it necessary? Could they have spent less? This isn't about deprivation. It's about awareness, because wealthy people know something poor people don't. Every dollar you spend is a dollar you choose not to invest. Every purchase is a trade-off between today's pleasure and tomorrow's freedom. They make that choice consciously. Most people make it unconsciously, then wonder why they're broke. Third, they automate their wealth building. Every evening, they confirm that their automatic transfers are working. Money moving to investments. Money moving to savings. Money moving to their future self. Set it and forget it? Not quite. Set it and verify it. Every single day. Now let's talk about the most boring part of all, the actual investing. You ready for the big secret? The strategy that builds millions? Index funds. Automatic monthly investments. Buy and hold. That's it. That's the tweet. No day trading. No crypto gambling. No stock picking. No market timing. Just boring, consistent, automatic investing in low-cost index funds. Same amount. Same day every month. Same funds. For decades, the S&P 500 has averaged about 10% annually over the long term. You don't need to beat it. You don't need to outsmart it. You just need to participate in it. Invest $500 a month from age 25 to 65. You know what that becomes? $3.2 million, $500 a month. Automatic. Boring. Millionaire. But here's where people mess up. They check their portfolio every day. They panic when it drops. They get excited when it rises. They convince themselves they should sell, buy, move, adjust. Wealthy people? They check maybe once a quarter. Maybe, because they understand something crucial. Watching your investments is like watching grass grow. If you stare at it, you'll go insane. If you leave it alone, it flourishes. The most successful investors are the ones who set it and literally forgot about it for years. Boring. Predictable. Wealthy. Then comes the weekend. And this is the real test, because this is when everyone else is treating themselves. Brunch. Shopping. Entertainment. Travel. Experiences. You only live once, and they're right. You do only live once. Which is exactly why you shouldn't spend your one life broke. Wealthy people spend their weekends differently. Not dramatically differently. Just slightly differently. And that slight difference compounds into massive results. Saturday morning, they review their full financial picture. All accounts. All investments. All debts. Net worth calculation. 1 hour. Once a week. That's it. Then they do something that seems insane. They spend time planning how to increase their income, not how to spend their money. How to make more of it. Could they negotiate a raise? Could they start a side business? Could they freelance their expertise? Could they create a digital product? 2 hours every Saturday. Focused on growth. Sunday? That's planning day. They plan the week ahead. They prep meals. They schedule their priorities. They eliminate decisions before the week even starts, because discipline is a finite resource. And they're not wasting it on deciding what to eat or when to work out or whether to invest. They decide once. Then they execute repeatedly. So let's zoom out. What does this boring routine actually build, in year 1? Almost nothing. Maybe you're $10,000 richer. Maybe $20,000 if you're aggressive. You look around and see people making more, spending more, living better, and you question everything. Is this worth it? This is so boring. This is so slow. This is where 95% of people quit, but the 5% who stick with it? Let me show you what happens. Year 5, you've got 6 figures in the bank. People start asking what you're doing differently. Year 10, you're a millionaire. Quietly. Boringly. Certainly. Year 15, you have options. You can work because you want to, not because you have to. Year 20, you're wealthy. Not Lamborghini wealthy. But I never worry about money wealthy. Which is real wealth. And here's the beautiful part. While everyone else was chasing exciting opportunities and coming up empty, you were just being boring. Same routine. Same discipline. Same boring actions. Every single day. No luck. No secret. No inside information, just consistency over time. So there it is. The boring routine that builds wealth. Wake up same time. Review your numbers. Work hard on one skill. Pack your lunch. Invest automatically. Cook at home. Review spending. Verify automation. Repeat, for years. For decades. Is it exciting? No. Is it Instagram worthy? Absolutely not. Will it make you rich? Yes. Guaranteed. If you can stand the boredom long enough to see the results. The question isn't whether this works. The question is, can you be boring enough to become wealthy? Drop a comment if you're committing to the boring routine. Subscribe for more truth about building real wealth. And share this with someone who keeps chasing exciting opportunities instead of boring certainty. Your future wealthy self is waiting on the other side of boring. Now go be boring.